Alright, guys, welcome back to the last portion of our series, or you'd say the last episode of our series. So, in this last episode, we shall be talking about. So, we have talked about the what, we've talked about the wow, we've talked about the when. So, let's talk about the where. So, where do you actually what? Place your trades and do, or maybe let me say participate. Now, for example, I know it's retail traders who are going to see this. So this is for retail traders, of course. But I personally, I'm a retail boy. So we shall start off with the MT4 and MT5. So now, what is the MT4 and what is the MT5? These are just abbreviations for what we call MetaTrader 4 and MetaTrader 5. These are different series of the same app. But what is MetaTrader 4 and what is MetaTrader 5? These are execution platforms where you actually execute and manage your positions or your buy and sell orders. So it is an industry standard execution. It allows automated trading. Those guys who are into, automated trading, bots and stuff. It has a built-in backtesting, and MetaTrader 5 adds more assets and timeframes. So this is the execution. But this is an app you can access on your phone, Android or iPhone. You can access it on your laptop, MacBook, or Windows. Yeah. So that's the execution platform. Then we have the analyzing. This can also be your execution platform, but it's basically very good at analyzing. Most traders use it for analysis. Yes. As you can see here, it's best in class charting, Pine script, custom indicators, cloud-based cross platform, often paired with a broker for execution. Like I said, you can execute from here. Sorry. Then we have choosing a broker. Choosing a broker. Now, you need a broker. As a retail trader, you're not going to, you know, take your $10 to the markets direct. You literally need a broker. The broker is the person who connects you to the other end of the market. So you literally need a broker who's going to connect you. So choosing a broker. Number one, some of the things you should consider when you are choosing a broker, lest you fall into scams. Number one is regulation. You need to check out their regulations. The FCA now, the ASIC, all those guys, all those regulations, bro. Then you have to check their spreads. Like I said, the spread is a difference in price. How fast are their executions? Actually, you need to check their reviews, you need to also check how fast is the withdraw and deposit of your money, you know, things like that. Personally, I've been using Xness and Derive. You probably, want to use one of those. Yeah, basically that's it for. So MT4 and MT5 are the execution ground. Then TradingView is the analysis ground. This is also an app you can access on your on your Android or iPhone, or new MacBook, or on your Windows laptop. Then choosing a broker, just Google this one. So the broker is the one who. So when you get the broker will give you login details to the account you have created and connect it to the MT4 and MT5 execution grounds. Yeah, so that you start participating. Basically, that's it. Then we have types of analysis. This is the last and final one. So this is part of the how. How do we actually engage? How traders form a view on the market. Now, there are different ways in which you can do this. Number one is technical. Now, henceforth, is where all the diverse topics come from, technical analysis and what. So now technical analysis is basically trying to understand or trying to forecast and predict price movement based on historical behavior, but using your, let me say, eyes. That's why it's called technical. You're literally just using your eyes and hands to, draw certain levels, support and resistance levels, using indicators, chart patterns to predict and try to come up with a bias, trying to come up with something that you would rely on and say, I think price is going to, you know, continue to the upside. Then you have the fundamental. Now the fundamental is the economic bias derived from economic data. You know what I mean? So we have interest rates, the GDP, which is the gross domestic product of an economy. We have the employment rates, inflation, central bank policies, all those things. Those are the fundamental aspects. Now that when you're trying to understand all those things and how they are affecting your instrument, for example, the Euro USD, if you're trying to understand the interest rates, the interest rate differential of the euro and the dollar, like what are the two interest rates? Which one? Now you find out the difference. Which one is against what? That's what we call fundamental analysis. Trying to figure out the inflation in the two economies. That's what we call fundamental analysis. Now we are going to make another series on technical analysis and fundamental. Yeah, we shall not be explaining sentimental analysis. Apologies for that because they already who uses this most often. So sentimental analysis is basically saying you're trying to gauge the market mood and the positioning of different traders. You're trying to understand. Uh okay, yeah, the market is behaving like this. How are banks positioning themselves? How are the retail traders positioning themselves? Now that's what we call sentimental analysis. You're trying to understand how many buyers are there, how many sellers. You know, that's what we call sentimental analysis. Yeah, so those are the three types of analysis. Going forward in the next series, we shall be talking about technical and fundamental analysis. Yeah, I feel like both of them will have their different series, but that's it. So for now, this has been the end of the series. We shall be talking about more technical things in other series. But for now, this is it for now. Thank you so much. See you all in the next series. It's been Joseph Bambali, Trading Archive. Be sure to leave a comment down below or give a thumbs up if you actually liked the content. Thank you so much.